I had some errands and stuff that I had to run, but I just wanted to make a quick Autism Mama video really quick. I wasn't expecting this to be like my first video for autism parents, but I felt like I needed to say it. I feel like it needed to be talked about. It's stressful. It's stressful being an autism mother, and I had to have his IEP meeting today for school, and it's just like trying to figure out a medication that works, not even just at home, but for school, so that he can sit and relax is a lot. It's difficult because, okay, so for my son, he has ADHD and he has autism. So it's really hard for us to find something that works for him so that he can be calm enough at home, but not be like zombie-like and stuff like that. And then you have to have him calm at school enough for him to focus, but still be able to participate in things and, have a calm body and all of that stuff. It's just so difficult with trying to keep all of that stuff together, and manage him after he comes home from school, if that makes sense to you guys. Like, I'm gonna give you examples. So my son now, he is on 2 medications for during the day, and he's on a medication to help him sleep at night, because if he does not get a medication at night, he does not sleep. So he is on methylphenidate, and he's on the short-term methylphenidate during the day, and he has to take guanfacine during the morning, and he has to take a methylphenidate twice a day. So he has to take it in the morning with his guanfacine to help him focus and stuff at school, and he has to take it again in the afternoon and keep him focused, because the methylphenidate only lasts for about 3 to 4 hours. So he has to take that, and the guanfacine is to help to keep everything together all day. So I ended up having to do that. Now, mind you, before this even happened, we had to do this schedule with a medication management psychologist, and we ended up having to go to him because the specialist that actually originally diagnosed my son with autism had him taking only 1 medication throughout the day, and by a certain amount of time they can't give him a certain dose of medication after a certain amount of time. So you then have to get switched to a medication management psychologist who is allowed to prescribe multiple medications at one time and certain higher doses if needed. So before he had to take 5 different medications my son had to go through in his years of us knowing of his autism. He started medication when he was 4 years old, when he started school. Actually, no, when he was 3. When he was 3 years old, he started medication because he was jumping off the furniture and hurting himself, and he has a very, very high tolerance for pain. So he would get hurt, and I would not know that he had a gash on his back or a scratch on his arm or anything like that, if it's not visible to me, because he wouldn't say ow or anything. He would jump right back up and keep doing what he's doing, and I would never know that he got hurt. So that worried me as a mom, because one of the times he jumped off my couch and he banged his back on our coffee table. He had a huge gouge on the back of his back, like down to the meat gouge. And I was so scared, like, oh my gosh, when I saw it, and I didn't see it until I went to give him a bath at night before he had to get ready for bed. So that scared me. Like, you have this huge gash on your back and you didn't even flinch. He said, ow, and I'm like, are you okay? And he was like, yes, mommy, and jumped off and went and was doing his own thing. He didn't say yes, mommy, because he wasn't talking at the time, but he basically was just and left. So I'm like, dude, why didn't you tell mommy? You had to say, you didn't even cry, nothing. Why didn't you tell mommy that you were hurt? we got to communicate somehow, because I can't have you getting hurt like this and not telling mommy. So that came in with other things that I'm going to talk about another video with PECs, which is communicating through pictures. So we ended up having to do that, or I had to end up checking him, like every time something happened, checking him, which I was doing that anyway, but I was just checking like the little parts where he would bang his arm or something and stuff like that. I was just checking that stuff, but I wasn't checking him, you know, while he's just playing in his room, because I'm not expecting him to have a giant gash on his arms or, you know, on his legs or anything like that, because he doesn't say ow, but he's jumping around and he's playing. So I had to make it a routine for me to daily check him. So it's been stressful. He's going back to school, and one of the biggest things that I had to tell them, like, y'all need to be writing down everything, because he is accident prone. My son will jump off a table. He will jump off a dresser. He will jump off a couch. He will jump off anything that Prince think he can go flying off of. He will jump off. So I had to tell them, please report this, because the last school that he went to, they told me that they don't report incidents unless it is like a head injury to the point where he basically has to get taken to the hospital. It's pretty much the only time that they will I'm sorry, there was a bug. That is the only time that they will actually report an injury for him. So I ended up having to tell them, like, please do not send my son home with any damages to his body that is not written down, signed by you, the nurse, and the principal, because I need to know what's going on with my son. And that problem came because my son went to school and he was playing, being his normal self, doing what he does, and he apparently went to chase after a tricycle and fell and scraped all of this. So when he got home, all of this was like down to the meat, like bleeding, and he just had a big band-aid on it. And it wasn't even on his arm, it was like hanging off his arm. And when he got to my house, the bus driver was like, what happened to his arm? That looks bad. And I'm looking at her like, what are you talking about? And then she's like, your son, he has a big gash on his arm. And I'm like, from what? And she's like, I don't know. She's like, he got on the bus like that. So like automatically as a parent already, you're like, what? Like, my kid got hurt and I didn't know about it. Like, why didn't anybody tell me about it? Like, and it's not like it's just a little tiny scratch. Like, this thing is open. Like, why didn't nobody call me? So she's like, you need to call the school. And I'm like, you ain't got to tell me that. Of course I'm going to call the school. Like, what? Like, what happened to my baby? So as a mother, period, you go, like, your mind just starts going crazy. Like, who hit my baby? What happened to my kid? Like, automatically, that's what happens. Like, your mind just goes. Everybody knows that's how it happens. But as an autistic child parent, it's so much worse. And it's so much worse because you're like, you know your child can't speak. You know your child has a high tolerance for pain. You know that your child doesn't really show emotion very well. So they can't come home and be like, Mom, I fell and hurt myself and my teacher washed it and put a Band-Aid on it. They can't do that for you. They can't come home and be like, hey, Mom, I jumped off this chair with the airplane because I was trying to make it fly and I fell and banged my face on the toy organizer. So I got a big giant bump on my forehead now. They can't do any of that. So for you to send someone's child home without a report, without a phone call, without so much as a note, something to say what happened to their child is wrong. It is so wrong. And I'm telling you now, I definitely did call that school and go off because I was upset that my son got off the bus and he had a giant gash on his arm. He could not tell me what happened to him. I didn't get a phone call from his teacher, not a message from his teacher. I didn't get not a call from the nurse, Not a message from the nurse. I didn't get nothing from the principal, not the office. Nobody called me. And then when I called the school, come to find out, nobody even knew what happened. The nurse never found out what happened because she was never informed. The teacher knew what happened, but she never reported it to anybody else. So she was the only person who did know. So when I called the school and I got the nurse and I got the principal telling me they don't know what happened to my son, now it looks like you hiding something. And I don't like that. So that made me very upset. As you can, I'm sure you can tell, that made me very upset because first of all, you have a whole classroom of disability children. So that should be like number one thing. Reports should be made. Period. Reports should be made. You have a whole classroom of children who have disabilities, who have nonverbal issues. They do not talk. They can't tell you what's going on. They can't come home and tell their parents what happened to them in school. Do not send them to home with injuries and no reports are made. First of all, we got to take our kids to therapies. We got to take them to doctor's appointments. We got to take them to all of this stuff. If they bruised up and everything like that, that looks bad on us. If we don't know where it came from and we can't tell them that, listen, this is what happened to our kid and this is the proof of what happened, there ain't no stopping them from thinking that we're abusing our children, and they will go and try to take our kids. And I know some people might think that's really dramatic, but it's really not. Especially for black people. And I'm sorry to say it that way, but it's the truth. For black parents, black mothers, black fathers, you send your child anywhere or take them anywhere and they got bruises on them or bumps all the time or scratches on cuts all the time, and you can't explain where that's coming from, it don't look good. And if it don't look good to you, can't tell me that it's going to look okay for somebody else who don't see them all the time. Or they see them a lot and they always got something going on. If they don't know their case, if they don't know that they're accident prone, they don't know they have autism and ADHD, they don't know that they always getting hurt and they have a high tolerance for pain, they don't know any of that stuff, it's not going to look good. You have to do better. Y'all got to do better in these schools with this. It's stressful. And I came on here today to tell you guys, it's stressful having a child in school with autism. It's so stressful. I gotta write you a whole entire program for just my one child, and I have 4 kids. I shouldn't have to tell you to write reports for my child, and he's a disabled child, a disabled nonverbal child at that. I should not have to explain that to you. That should be something that's automatically done. That should be something that's on your list. Like, that should be protocol in your classroom. Y'all so quick to write us and tell us that our kid was acting up in class. Be as quick to tell us that something happened to our kid. And I need it in writing with signatures, because y'all not about to send my kid home with mess on them and nobody can explain it. Or I go to tell somebody that this is what happened, and all of a sudden y'all telling me that it didn't happen in school, but I got it on writing. Because y'all just be just as quick to try to take somebody's kids. And no, not all schools are like that. So I won't say that it's all schools, but I'm saying y'all in general, because I feel like there's a lot of schools who are like that, who don't have those protocols in place. And I feel like that should be like number one. Like one of the first things on your list. That medication, ADA training, MANT training, any of that kind of stuff needs to be like protocol in y'all classrooms. And I was a teacher, so I can tell you that I definitely kind of had that firsthand, seeing that not being dealt with. So, like, seriously, sorry, but that needs to be done. So, as a parent with a child with autism, it's stressful. I know. Our kids is going back to school, and it's a headache. It really is. And that's, like, real talk. Like, that's real. Like, I'm so stressed out, and it's just, like, one day of dealing with paperwork and one day of dealing with meeting with the nurse and the pharmacy and going back and forth with medication management and trying to get his medications situated and split up so he can have stuff for home and have stuff for school. And it's stressful. But we build for this. We got this. We do it anyway because we can, because we have to, because if we don't advocate for them, who will? If we don't talk for them, who will? If we don't tell people, you need to stand up for our kid, who will? Who's going to do it if we don't? And if y'all not doing it, you better get on it. Okay, get on it. Because one day you're going to get that knock on the door. Believe it or not, it happens more often than it should. And you got to sit there and you got to explain it all over again. My child has autism. My child has a disability. My child is accident prone. My child is known to always be getting hurt. Always to be having this. And without their medication, this happens and that happens and the other thing happens. It's stressful. It's so stressful. Even at home. Having guests over, having to keep explaining it over and over and over again, seeing people's faces when your child is jumping off the furniture because they're like, oh my God, never my kid. Oh, Prince this, Prince that, blah, 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 blah. It's stressful. We don't need y'all telling us that our kid is stressing you out. We stressed out too. We already stressed out. We know it's stressful. We know. We doing everything we can. We got trying to get their medication right to where it's supposed to be so that our kid is not trying to hurt themselves. So our kid don't think that he's flying and jumping off the couch. We know. It's not just you that's seeing it. We know. So I basically just came out here to let you guys know you're not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone at all. I was like, I had to get that off my chest because I just feel like sometimes these teachers just don't get it. In reality, they only see them when they see them, and they know how to deal with them for when they have them. But when you have them 24/7, you don't understand. You don't always get it. You don't understand how hard it is for us. You have them for hours out of the day. We have them 24/7. Any other day. You don't get them when they are sick and they can't tell you that they're sick. You don't get them when they hurt and they can't tell you that they're hurt. Their stomachs is hurting, so they screaming and they crying and they throwing tantrums and all this other stuff. But you just writing me to tell me that my child is acting up in school. You're not getting it. I don't need you to report to me every day that my kid is acting up in class. So I don't need you every day telling me that my child was wild. I know my kid is wild. I know. I'm his mother. You ain't got to tell me that. Just understand. Understand where the stress is coming from. Understand that it may not seem like a lot to y'all. It may not seem like much at all to y'all. But it's a lot for us. It is a whole lot for us. So try to get that. Try to understand that. And once y'all actually do find out, some teachers actually do understand and they be like, man, I don't know how you do it. Because I only got them for a few days. I only have them for a few hours throughout the day. And I'm stressed out. I want to pull my hair out. Not all kids are that terrible, but I'm just saying, like, in general, with a child with autism, it's stressful. It's so much stuff that goes into being a parent with autism. So that is why it takes support. It takes encouragement. And we do it. We do it well. We really do. We do it well. But I'm just telling you, parents, I get you. I understand it. I know it's stressful. I know these first couple weeks, it's probably a relief, honestly, because you get a minute. But then at the same time, you don't really get a minute because you worried about your child while they're at school. Writing their teacher, are they okay? How they doing? They acting all right today? How's the medication doing? Is it working? Is it not working? Is it wearing off too much? Do I need to call the doctor? Like, it's still, your mind is still there. As if they're at home. Even though you're relaxed, you're not really relaxed. And that's what any kid, that's not even just shit. the children with autism. So understand, I get you. I love y'all all. I'm here for you. I understand. I get it. If your school is not doing it, get them to do it. Make them reports. And don't let them tell you that, oh, we can't do that. Yes, they can. You can get a binder. You can get a notebook. Y'all can communicate back and forth. If them Remind, that's what it's called. If they don't have the Remind app, or they don't have something else where y'all can text each other, or Canvas or something like that for y'all to be able to communicate with one another, have them write you in a notebook. Put it in a book bag. Or I'll be sending this to school every day. I need to know what's going on. Be involved with your child, because believe it or not, some of them not going to do it if you don't have them do it. Some of them may do it because they understand, or they just, they're good. They're great at their job. They've been doing it for a while. They understand. But there's a lot of teachers out there sometimes. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to bash teachers. I'm just saying, like, there's some people out there who they need the motivation. They need the encouragement for them to be able, and I know your child is not the only child in the class, and I get that, which is why I said to send a notebook or something where they can send something home at the end of the day. Let you know how their day was. Let them know how things were going, so that you can be able to communicate. And I like that about the school that my son is in now, because I'm able to communicate with his teacher. We're able to be on the same page. She understands things because she's been doing this for a while. I'm not the only parent who is advocating for my child, so she gets it. She gets where I'm coming from. You have to advocate you have to advocate for your child. You have to be your child's voice, because they can't say it themselves. They don't know what's fair and what's not. They don't know what's right and what's wrong, for the most part. They don't get all of that. So you have to do it. Whether you feel like it or not, you have to do it, because we're for them. We are for them. You have to be involved. Be involved with your child. It's stressful. Yes, I know I just spent a whole video basically telling you it's stressful, but it is stressful. But at the end of the day, we're their parents. We have to be that person for them. If we don't do it, nobody else will. So I love you guys, and I hope you take that all in love. And I know it was a whole lot of everything, but listen, like I said, I was not expecting this to be my first Autism Mama video, but I needed to get that off my chest, because my son just started school, and that was something that needed to be talked about. There will be more things for school and all that stuff later on. But today was that day where I was like, Lord, help me, Jesus. Help me to communicate this, because I'm just getting frustrated. Why is the medication not working? Why is this teacher not responding the way I need to respond? Like, why do I have to advocate this so much? But we have to do it. Because like I said, if we don't, nobody else will. So take that encouragement. You can do it. We built for this. God didn't bless us with these children for us not to be able to handle it. He knows where the line is for us. He knows how much we can bear. We got it. We can do it. We just got to get out there and make it happen. Make it happen for our babies. Thank you so much for watching Autism Mama today. I hope it was something that either opened your eyes or encouraged you or inspired you some way in today. Gave you some type of support today, because although I am stressed, it helped for me to relieve it. It helped me to be able to talk to you guys about it, to get it out there for you guys to hear, because it's a lot. But I know I'm not the only person that feels it. I know I'm not the only person that understands. So, yes. Please hit that subscribe button. Hit the little bell on the side so that you guys get every notification for any time that I'm going to upload a video. I'm going to try to do this at least 3 times a day. Or at least 3 times a week, and upload them. And, yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye.